Hey guys, how you doing? I know I look crazy. I wash my hair, whatever. But I was just looking at. I've been seeing them showing. How y'all doing? Worth it over here. Hey everybody, whoever comes in. I was just noticing Aliyah a lot showing up in pictures of her all over the place. So then I just happened to go to all on YouTube, on looking for things to look at. And the Vatican, I guess they're going, people white and black, the Israelites, I guess the ones that took over, you know, and they're going around the black cube, right? And they have them white and black. So I'm just curious, George. I'm like, okay, I keep seeing Aaliyah's picture, and I'm wondering what that means. And then today, I'm seeing them walk around and around the black cube. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So first, I looked it up, and Aliyah means high, and the exalted one in Arabic. And Aliyah, Alya, means sky, heaven, and loftiness, right? So you know me, I'm curious, George. Hey, I'm here. Okay. So I said, okay, what's this? Then I found the gathering of Israel. The gathering of Israel, Hebrew has a word for it. Gathering of exiles, also known as gathering as a Jewish, diaspor, is the biblical promise of Deuteronomy 30, 1/5, given by Moses to the people of Israel prior to their entrance into the land of Israel. During the days of Babylonian exile, writings of the prophets Isaiah and Ezekiel encouraged the people of Israel the promise of the future gathering of exiles to the land of Israel. The continuing hope for return of the Israel. I don't know if they're gonna cut me off, yeah, okay. The continuing hope of for the return of the Israel exiles to the land has been in the hearts of Jews ever since the destruction of the second temple. Maimonides, Maimonides, connected its materialization with the coming of the Messiah. The gathering of the exiles in the land of Israel became the core idea. Y'all can see it now if y'all look at put all it got the people walking around the black, the Israelites walking around the black, the Zionists walking around the black cube. Gathered of the exiles in the land of Israel became the core idea. Drink somebody. Brew. The gathering of exiles in the land of Israel became the core idea of the Zionist movement and the core idea of Israel's scroll of independence, embodied by the idea of going up, Aliyah, since the Holy Land is connected to be spiritually higher than all other land. The immigration of Jews to the land of the state of Israel, the mass wave of Alot plural form, has been like to the exodus from Egypt. So y'all know Moses, I'm finna read Moses. Moses promised. And the latter parts of the book of Deuteronomy, when Moses' death was near, he prophesied about the destiny of the people of Israel. Their destiny would not be promising. Excuse me. Curses would come upon them and they will go into exile. But when they return to their homeland later, their situation will be as good as it had been in the past. And so said Moses. Now, I'm going to put down also, I'm seeing they're talking a lot about Africa. And then they had me write that down, and Ethiopia. Okay. So I'm trying to see what's going on. And it will be when all these things come upon the blessings and the curses which I have said before you, that you will consider in your heart among all the nations where the Lord your God has banished you, and you will return to the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, and will you listen to his voice according to all that I am commanding you this day, you and your children. Then the Lord your God will bring back your exiles, and he will have mercy upon you, He will once again gather you from all the nations where the Lord your God had dispersed you. Even if your exiles are at the end of the heavens, the Lord your God will gather you there, and he will take you from there. And the Lord your God will bring you to the land which your forefathers possessed, and you will take possession of it, and he will do good to you, and he will make you more numerous than your forefathers. Okay. Deuteronomy 31, verse 1, verse 5. So, those were the Israelites, the ones taken out of Moses, the ones that was going to exile in Moses, in Egypt. So they splattered all over the place, our generation, our family, the whole 9 yards. In the process of gathering the exiles of Israel, Moses emphasizes the following points. The exiles will return to the Lord your God, number one. The exiles, number two, at the end of the heavens will also return. Exile, number three. The situation will be improved after the ingathering of the exiles of Israel in the land of Israel. And he will do good to you, and he will make you more numerous than your forefathers. Okay, we read that. Prophet's promise. Nevi'im, let me write some of this down so y'all can see. Nevi'im. Prophets, this word right here. Prophesizing after the destruction of the first temple, had encouraged the Babylonian exiles by reiterating the words of Moses. In chapter 11, the book of Isaiah says the gathering here is mentioned as being done for the second time. What this means remains cryptic. And it shall come to pass that on the day the Lord shall come to apply his hand in a second time to acquire the rest of his people that remain from Israel and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Samaria and from Haman. Now I'm seeing all of this. The United States supposed to take over this. The United States supposed to do this with this, take over this country. I'm seeing all of this stuff. And we live in the United States. At least I do. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what? What y'all doing again? You know what I'm saying? From the island of this Cush, from the land of Cush, and from Elam, and from Samaria, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. So you got Solomon's Island, right? Okay. 12. And he shall rise a banner to the nations, and he shall gather the lost of Israel, and scatter the ones of Judea. He shall gather from the four corners of the earth. So we got the true people from Israel, true people from Judea. Okay, we already know that the ones that are there are not. Okay. Book of Isaiah 11:11. What is today's date? 9, 10, 11, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 11, and 8. 8, 9, 19 equals 10. So today is the 10th day, right? We got 12 month, 29th day, 9, 10, 11, 11, 4, plus 20 and 21. So that's 2, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46 equals 10. So today is the 10th day, right? And I will be found by you, as the Lord says the Lord, and I will return your captivity and gather you from all nations and from all the places where I have driven you, says the Lord, and I return you to the place whence I exiled you. Book of Jeremiah. So I'm just trying to see why they keep going around this cube. When I get through this, we're going to look for the cube, right? Okay. Book of Isaiah. With a pleasing Savior, I shall accept you when I take you out of the nations, and I will gather you from the lands in which you were scattered, and I shall be hallowed through you before the eyes of the nations. And you will know that I am the Lord when I bring you to the land of Israel, to the land that I lifted my hand to give to your forefathers. Book of Ezekiel. Okay. Okay, Isaiah was Jeremiah was 29, which is today, 14, right? And then the other one's Isaiah was Isaiah was 11 dash 12. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Okay. Okay, so book of Ezekiel. So that makes it 20, 41, verse 42. Um, benediction regarding this word right here, KIPPUTZGALUYOT. Benediction of that word at the top. Okay. The Jewish rabbinical sages Shazel included the benediction regarding that word I told y'all among the 13 benedictions of appeal in Ahmad. Okay. The central prayer of the Jewish liturgy liturgy liturgy. It is said it is the earliest benediction. So this is the benediction. Let's look at what that means. Um, wherein any appeal is made concerning subjects relating to Jewish nationality and restore next existence of the Jewish nation as an independent nation. So it's supposed to be an independent nation, Hebrew nation. Okay. And others being Barat Hadan. Okay. So we got BIRKATHADIN, Barat Hadan, benediction regarding justice. Okay. Benediction regarding justice. So I figure if I can help, I want to see. Okay, Boni Yersamai, builder of Jerusalem. Okay, builder of Jerusalem. Barak David, beneficial regarding the Davidic dynasty. Barakat David. So y'all know David in the Bible. David dynasty. Okay. The law of kings. Maimonides writes, Maimonides, laws of kings. The Messianic king will rise in the future and restore the Davidic kingdom to its former state and original sovereignty. He will build a temple and gather the dispersed of Israel. All the laws will be reinstituted in his days as they had been aforetimes. Sacrifices will be offered, and the sabbatical years and the jubilee years will be observed fully as ordained by the Torah. Okay. Anyone who does not believe in him, or whoever does not look forward to his coming, denies not only the other prophets, but also the Torah and of Moses, our teacher. For the Torah arrests to him as it is said. Okay. So, David Kingdom, former state, blah, blah, blah. Laws. Jubilee is having a 40, sorry. what they doing, celebrating, sacrificing. Okay. Then the Lord your God will bring back your exiles, and he will have mercy upon you. He will once again gather you from all the nations, even from your exiles or at the end of the heavens. The Lord your God will gather you from there, and he will take you from there, and the Lord your God will bring you. So that's Deuteronomy 33-5, chapter 3 through 5, 5th chapter. These words, exclusively stated in the Torah, included all the statements made by all the prophets. Okay, so we got the Law of the Kings 11. Oh, we already put that. Okay. According to McDonough, with that word I told you for, well, this word right here, that M word, okay. Um, of all assignments attributed to the Messiah, the Torah arrests to one. Then the Lord your God will bring back your exiles, the ingathering of the exiles of Israel. The word I said at first, that first K word, that one at the top. The Messiah is the ingathering of the exiles of Egypt. Other Israel scholars view this differently from that M word I told you. They argue that the Torah attests to a period, not a person. The period in which the people of Israel returned to their homeland, the land of Israel. So they say it's not a Messiah. The Jewish scholars say not a person, but a period of time where people of Israel returned to their homeland. The land of Israel. I thought they was already in their land. Okay. The act of ingathering the exiles of Israel in the land of Israel, that word I showed y'all, the K word, will bring about the coming of the Messiah, as the hand of God is in the events of creation of the state of Israel. Obviously a different reality than that M word I showed y'all disputes. Though they see the writings of that M word as a way of learning the importance of the role of the Messiah, since the M word was a scholar, not a prophet. And did not live up to see the event of the establishment of the state of Israel. So you got this Zviyehudakook, that name right here at the bottom. One of the leaders of the religious Zionist movement, leader, okay, used to quote from the Resonate book, Responsa, Responsa book. What is that Y word? I don't know. I just wrote that. The Y word. Oh, okay. Yeah. That word no. Yeshuotmalko of Israel, Yahasha of Kuna, Israel, Yahasha of Kutana. Okay, that at the bottom. Okay. In conjunction with Aliyah. So there we go. We're going to Aliyah now. See, I've been seeing Aliyah. I'm like, why they keep showing Aliyah? And 1066. So this is page 1, this page 2. And the date is 12/29/21. Video. Okay. There is no doubt that this is a gathering, Mizihah, a command of the Torah, because the gathering is a Atala beginning of redemption. Okay, so Aliyah got a greater mitzvah, commandment of the Torah, because of the gathering is a Atchalta, the Gayula, the beginning of redemption. Okay. As arrested, I will yet gather others to him, together with this gathered ones. Isaiah 56:8, and see the environment, page 64. The divine presence does not rest on less than two Madrates of Israel. The divine presence does not rest on less than two Madrids of Israel, especially nowadays in which we have been the great desire, inasmuch as the men of lesser importance, mediocre ones, and upright in heart, it is more than likely that we would glean with the spirit of salvation. Fortunate are the ones who take part in bringing merit into the masses. Okay, okay. So if we're participating, we get blessed as well. Okay. Uh, Heritage Judaism and Heritage Judaism and Shabbat, that's a B, y'all. Movement takes the writings of that M word literally. The Messiah is assigned to missions of completing the ingathering the exiles of Israel. Until they, the Jewish community living in Israel, is defined as a desertor of Israel. What that mean? Spora, Israel. Though they give their consent to the Jewish rule of Israel and see the advantages of it. Terms of the Jewish nationality. Cyrus declaration in 538 BC, Ezekiel, Ezra 1 3. Whom is among you of all his people, may his God be with him, and he may ascend Aliyah to Jerusalem, which is in Judea, and let him build the house of the Lord, God of Israel. He is the God who is in Jerusalem. According to the Bible, Cyrus the Great called upon the Jewish to implement the ingathering of the exiles of Israel, that K word I showed y'all, through his conquest, and not only to live there, but also to rebuild the temple of Jerusalem. Okay. Okay. That was destroyed. Napoleon, in his proclamation to the Jews of Asia and Africa, 1799, here we go on Napoleon. How you get in there? Napoleon. Unfortunately, my kinfolk. Okay, let's see. Napoleon in his proclamation to the Jews of Asia and Africa in 1799 implicated in whatever suggests rebuilding the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, which had been destroyed by the second time. Build temple in Jerusalem. Napoleon Bonaparte has published a proclamation in which he invites all the Jews of Asia and Africa together under his flag in order to reestablish the ancient Jerusalem. He has already given armies to the great number, and their battle lions threaten Alpia. L-P-P-O. The French scholar Henry Lorraine holds that the proclamation never took place and that the document supposedly proving its existence is a forgery. Fraud. Okay. Didn't happen. So did he capture him or what? Or was he stopped? The Four Declaration of 1917 the former statement of policy by the British government stating His Majesty's government view with favor the establishment in Palestine. The Palestinians took over Israel, right? Palestine goes back to Cain's children, if I'm not mistaken, or Jacob's brother Esau. His Majesty's government viewed with favor the establishment in Palestine of the national home for the Jewish people, and will use their best endeavors to facilitate the achievement of this object, it being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and the religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine. Okay, so the non-Jewish, you said nothing will happen to them. Okay. Palestinian. Are the rights of political stature employed by Jews in other countries? Read that again. It being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, or the rights of, I don't know, Zionism. The first Zionist Congress of the World Zionist Organization, WZO, established in Basel in 1897 and adopted the Zionist platform, which came to be known as the Basel Program, which stipulated the following goals. Zionism seeks to establish a homeland for the Jewish people and Zeret Israel, secured by public law. The last thing I wrote, okay. Aliyah. The intensity involved by the Zionist movement ever since in transporting Jewish legal and non-legal immigrants. This second type is also known as Aliyah. Okay. So that's transporting Jewish and legal and non-legal. It's by the Zionist, right, movement. Immigrants. The second type is also known as Aliyah. This is the second type. To the land of Israel, a rest to the importance they attribute to the goal. Attests to the importance they attributed to that goal. Aliyah is the illegal entrance to the land of Israel under the British Mandates laws, included during World War II and the Holocaust. Okay. Illegal entrance to the land of Israel under British mandates laws in World War II and the Holocaust. Aliyah was organized by the Yeshuvi, the Jewish settlement in the land of Israel before Israel's establishment as a country. Organized by Yahshua. Okay, this is page 1, 2. This is 3. Okay, so Yahshua, the Jews in the land of Israel in 1934 until the state of Israel began in 1948. Aliyah was carried out by the Mossad Aliyah Bet, a branch of the Jewish Defense Association. Okay. By Mossad Aliyah Bet, a branch of Jewish Defense Association. Haganah. I don't know. Sorry, I pronounced it wrong. The paramilitary organization that was to become the Israel Defense Force, the IDF. Okay. During Aliyah's 14 years of activity, 115,000 Jews made Aliyah to the land of Israel. 115,000 Jews made Aliyah to the land of Israel. The term Aliyah is composed of the Hebrew word Aliyah, meaning Jewish immigration. Okay, I think I wrote that already. Aliyah, Jewish immigration. Individual or group to the land of Israel. And the Hebrew letter Bet. So we know Ethiopia is Hebrews, right? The second letter in the Hebrew alphabet it used was anonymous, the English word term Plan B. Visa visa. The legal transportation of immigrants was being carried out simultaneously with the legal Jewish immigration to the land of Israel permitted by the British Mandate. The mandate attempted to limit the number of immigration certificates in a way which contradicted the national goals of the Jewish community living there. Aliyah started only modestly in the midst of the 1930s. The majority of the Jewish immigrants, the Almi, OLIM, arrived after World War II and the Holocaust. Aliyah was carried out in various methods through the sea, the main method, through land routes, mainly through Iraq and Syria, through the air. This method was started in 1947 and 48 when two airplanes landed in the Lower Galilee village of Yavnel as part of the operation of Michaelberg, the flying operation. Michaelberg. Defying the British Mandate government operation. The first plane carried Jewish immigrants from Iraq in August-September 1947. The second flew in from South Italy. Okay. The state of Israel. The idea of ingathering exiles of Israel in the land of Israel was the basis of establishing of the state of Israel. After the Holocaust, the United Nations General Assembly, in its decision-making process in United Nations, partition plan for Palestine perceives this idea to be the reason for adopting the decision on the Jewish state. Expression of yearning for the gathering of exiles of Israel in the land of Israel can be found in the prayer for the state of Israel, which was authorized by Israel's chief rabbis during the first years of Israel's existence. Israel bodies of authorities have expressed their opinion on this matter by passing a law of return, which granted every Jew the right to make aliyah to the land of Israel. The prayer for the state of Israel. The prayer of the welfare of the state of Israel is recited on the Sabbath and Jewish holidays in many synagogues around the world. The prayer appeals to God to bless the land of Israel, to assist its leaders, and an appeal using the words Moses. We have to look up what Moses means, really. Lead them swiftly and upon Upright, lead them swiftly and upright to your city Zion, to the Jerusalem and to Jerusalem. The abide of your name, as written in the Torah of your servant Moses. Even if your outcasts are at the ends of the world, from there the Lord your God will gather you. From there he will fetch you, and the Lord your God will bring you to the land that your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it. And he will make you more prosperous and more numerous than the fathers. This prayer is commonly recited in religious Zionists and the conservative Judaism synagogues, but generally not in Harad synagogues. Haradi, that means. I heard of that word, Haradi. Return, law return. A stamp and a passport issuing the holder Israel citizenship based on the law of return. So we got the law of return. So my perception, today is the day for you to thank, because it's the times, it's not a person you're waiting on. It's the time for everything to shift, to go back to the people. Somebody's trying to stop it. Somebody's trying to stop it. The law of return, a law passed in 1950 in memory of the Holocaust, allows every Jew the right to make Aliyah to the state of Israel and to receive a certificate of Aliyah. Certificate, because they just showed her they showing Aliyah just a little bit too much. Certificate of Aliyah. Okay. You receive a certificate of Aliyah, which grants the certificate holder an Israel citizenship immediately. Wow. This stems from Israel's identity as a Jewish state, which is connected to the idea of gathering of Israel. Okay. This is 0, started 12, 29. Okay. This is page 7. Yom Ha Aliyah is a new Israel nation holiday officially passed into law on June 21st, 2016. Okay. Aliyah Day. So they got everybody thinking they talking about the singer Aliyah. They ain't talking about no singer Aliyah. They talking about something deeper than that. But see, that's why they can fool us. You know, people don't like to dig deep. They like to stay on the surface. I like to decode stuff. Okay, Hebrew is a new Israeli national holiday, official passed into law on June 21st, 2016. Yom, that word I said, is to be celebrated annually on the 10th of the Hebrew month of Nasa Hebrew. Celebrated the 10th of Hebrew month. Excuse me. Nasa, Nasan, Hebrew. The day was established to acknowledge Aliyah, immigration to the Jewish state, as a core value of the state of Israel, and honor the outgoing contributions of Olim to Israel society. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Believe in a literal gathering of Israel, that all of lost tribes will be returned and gathered together around the time of the second coming of Christ. Members of the church receive particular blessings in which their lineage is declared. They are declared as being the descendants, literally or adopted, of one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, most members of the church today are part of the tribe of Ephraim. Okay, of a church of Jesus Christ. They're either literal or adopted. Because you know, a lot of people married into stuff or made people marry them and had children from it so they can be part of that, you know. Most members of the church today are part of the Ephraim, a fulfillment of prophecy that Ephraim would have the birthright. I was talking about birthright. Where is that paper at? Oh my goodness. And responsibility for helping to gather scattered Israel in the last days. Okay. Gathering Israel in last days. Helping. So that's the Church of Jesus Christ said they supposed to be doing. Where did I put that birthright? I wrote that somewhere a while back. Because it was mine, I want it. No more lies. It's for us, it's ours. Shoot, I figured I wasn't going to be able to find it. But anyway, let's continue. Where's my pen go? Give me another pen. Okay. All righty then. I like it like that. Okay, let's see. I know I look at it. Sorry. Okay, let's go to um, what does the black cube mean? What does the black cube mean?
According to Wikipedia, Black Cube is a private corporate intelligence company based in London, Tel Aviv, and Madrid.
So are they in Tel Aviv? I wish I can let y'all see. So it's in the black cube is in a private corporation based in London, Tel Aviv, and Madrid. I don't know which one they at. Okay. The company was founded in 2010. Israel Intelligence Officer, ITF, Dan Zorelli and AVIYNS, whatever. Its employees included former members of Israel intelligence units. Often it has supported Israel Defense Forces activists. Okay. Private blah 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 blah. Great intelligence. Selected group of elite Israelites. A selected group of veterans from the Israelite elite. Intelligence unit that specialize in tailoring solutions to complex business and litigation challenges. Cutting edge analytical research skills at the heart of every solid intellect project. Highly experienced and trained in Israel's elite military and governmental intelligence units. The Black Cube team uses creative and innovative thinking to connect the dots. Harvesting in the Austin world. Black Cube has devoted innovative tools and methodologies to handle massive amounts of data. We unearth useful information for our clients and map out the potential source of interest by trailing the and mm, deep web and harvesting information from typically inaccessible areas of the internet, such as dark net. Language. Hold on, y'all. Say something. See this part. Language and cultures, and its multilingual background, including more than 30 native speakers of different languages and a unique understanding of many local cultures. The team is uniquely skilled to operate in Europe, Mid-East, and the former Soviet Union, Latin America, and many other regions, while handling various cultural challenges. Black Cube has already operated successfully in over 70 countries. Expansive database access. We have unique experience accessing and analyzing information on various platforms, including more than 240 limited access financial, commercial, regulatory, legal, and technical database, gaining lawful access to new resources in accordance with our clients' needs. Proactive approach. We overcome limited access sources by taking a can do dynamic approach. We have developed several unique methods, especially in the social engineering field. This allows us to move freely in and to extract valuable information from limited access sources, both in virtual and physical environment. Ethical conduct. We only use human intelligence to discover the truth and always act lawful in each jurisdiction in which we operate. We do not undertake any projects involving violent crime of any kind, including sexual harassment. We never use intimidation, blackmail, or hacking to obtain information, and we only ever record conversations that we are part of or are party to. We do not put words into people's mouths, and our recordings are never edited to change the meaning of a conversation. Full and edit transcripts of our recordings are always provided to the court. Y'all funny. Y'all are funny. Okay, let's see. Israel spy form vacuum secrets pit to clients. Let's see what is the Black Cube doing today in Tel Aviv? Okay, let's see. What is happening on today's date in Tel Aviv? What is important about today? This one says, why is today so important? It is the recognition that every opportunity you have tomorrow is determined by your intention, purpose, and skill today. People tend to romanticize the past and dream of the future. It leaves them caught between a past that controls them and a future that avoids them. Okay. In Canada, today's special in Canada children's television program produced by Slev Vanderbilt at TV or Toronto, originally broadcast by 1982 to 1987. Much of the series was set in a department store based on Simpsons' then flagship location in Toronto. Okay, let me see. Some sequences were shot the Queen Street West, Yonge Street near after stores. The show ran in Toronto and Canada as well as Nickelodeon in the United States, where returns of the show also aired in PBS station in the early 1990s. The Today's Show, the Today's Special. I think that's where the Simpsons come from, right? I might be wrong. I don't know. I'm not gonna go off into that. Let's see. Today marks exactly 56 years ago that President John F. Kennedy was assassinated by John Harvey Oswald. Check that out. Up to this point in American history, we had three presidents killed while in office: Abraham Lincoln, 1965, James A. Griffin, 1881, and William McKinley, 1901. Still not saying anything. What is happening around the world on today's date? You know, you got to ask the right question. I ain't going to tell you. Why are the Israelites marching around the black cube? Should I ask that at first? Huh? Let's see. Times of Israel. That's all it's saying. To pay Israel TV network after dropping UK, blah, blah, blah. Says hired Israel firm Black Q for days like this. Let's see, can I find it? So I can show y'all.
الكتاب فترى المجرمين مشفقين مما فيه ويقولون يا ويلتنا ما لهذا الكتاب لا يغادر صغيرة ولا كبيرة
I don't
إلا
know what he's saying.
أحصاها
But they're going around and around for.
حاضرا ولا يظلم ربك أحدا
Let me write down. Let me say we seen that word Micaiah. I just put that word in. Oh, sorry. I know I put that word. Oh, okay, this is the other word. Let's see what that means. Let's see what that means. Yeah.
ومن أظلم ممن ذكر بآيات ربه فأعرض عنها ونسي ما قدمت يده.
What does Lamaki mean?
Lama, which means the إنا جعلنا على قلوبهم أكنة أن يفقهوا وفي آذانهم وقرا وإن تدعوهم إلى الهدى فلن يهتدوا
A city in West Saudi Arabia, birthplace of Muhammad. The Holy City of Israel. Islam, excuse me, containing the Kaaba. Spiritual center. So Muhammad's supposed to have been the last Messiah. That's Mecca, Saudi Arabia, located in Sarat Mountains, inland from the Red Sea coast. It is holiest of Muslim city. Muhammad, the founder of Islam, was born in Mecca, and it's toward this religious center that Muslims turn 5 times daily in prayer. All devout and able Muslims attempt a Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca at least once in their lifetime because it is sacred. Only Muslims are allowed to enter the city. In the 20th and 21st century, the city underwent vast improvements. The areas around the religious shrines was cleared, and the mosque and large housing and sanitation improved, and the transportation faculties enhanced. As a result, Mecca can accommodate the continual increasing number of pilgrims, or Hayat, Hajjis, area 10 square miles, 26 square kilometers, population 2010, 1,534,073, whatever. Okay. Kaaba Makkah, surrounded by pilgrims during the Hollow Mecca. Okay. Abandoned prophecy. Mecca is situated at an elevation of 909 feet above sea level on the dry beds of the Wadden Wadibrahim and several of its short trib- tributaries. It is surrounded by the Seret Mountains. The peaks of which include Mount Jebel Ajad, which rises to 1,302 feet, and Mount Abu Qubays, which attains 122 feet to the east of Mount QU/AYQ/AN, which reaches 1,400 feet to the west. Mount Harai rises 2,008 feet on the northeast and contains a cave in which Muhammad sought isolation and visions before he became a prophet. It was also in this cave that he received the first verse, Allah, of the Holy Quran, south of the city. Mount Turay, TWAWR, 2,490 feet, contains a cave in which the prophet secured himself from his Meccan enemies during the Hijrah to Medine, an event that marks the beginning of the Muslim calendar. Entrance to the city is gained through the four gaps and the surrounding mountains. The passes led from northeast to Mina, Arafat, Mina, Arafat, and Al/Ta question point IF from the northwest to Medina, Medina, from the west to Jeddah, Jaddah, and from the south to Yemen. The gaps have always defined the direction of the contemporary expansion of the city. Climate. Because of its relatively low-lying location, Mecca is threatened by seasonal flash floods, despite the low amount of annual precipitation. There are less than 5 inches, 130 millimeters, of rainfall during the year, mainly in winter months. Temperatures are high throughout the year and in summer may reach 120 F 49 centimeters. Plant and animal life. Plant and animals are Cascarce, and consist of species that can withstand the high degree of aridity and heat. Natural vegetation includes Tamarska, Tamarisks, and various types of Acacia. Wild animals include wild cats, wolves, hyenas, foxes, monogooses, kangaroo kangaroo rats. They call them kangaroo rats. Roas. The city centers on the Haram Mastique, also called the Great Mystique, in which are situated the Kaaba, Kaaba, and the sacred well of Shemesh, sacred well and well of Zam. The compact built-up area around the mosque comprises the old city, which stretches the north and the southwest, but is limited on the east and west by the nearby mountains. The main avenues are Al-Adad and Sula lay onto the north of Mastic. Okay. Since World War II, Mecca has expanded along the roads through the mountain gaps to the north, northwest, and west. North, northwest, and west. Among the modern residential areas along the roads, expansion has been accompanied by the construction of new streets in the old city. 21st century number of skyscraper hotels are built in the area around the mosque. The Haram Mystique is magnificent in its size and structure and has been embellished and enlarged on numerous occasions through the centuries. Okay, I'm still trying to get to this. The Mystique can accompany 1 million worshippers at a time. So is that what it's called, the Mystique? Houses near the Mystique have been raised, and it is now surrounded by open spaces and wide streets, which can cross through underground walkways built to ease traffic. To the south of Haram Mystique, the Sudan government built the Abarajah Abrat skyscraper complex, one of the world's largest and tallest buildings, to house hotels, shopping centers, and prayer areas near the holy cities. House people, economic, manufacturing, transportation, government. It says Abraham and Ishmael, his son by Hagar. Okay, Hagar. Oh, remember Abraham. Y'all know the story of Abraham. He was in love with Sarah, but she was the baby. And the tradition was you had to marry the oldest, had to be married for the youngest. So they tricked Abraham and made him marry the oldest sister. And she had the most kids. Sarah only had one, and that was, or was that Jacob? But no, it says Abraham. Um, Forgot the oldest son. I mean the baby. Maybe Jacob. Maybe I can't remember. But no, that was Jacob. According to Islamic tradition, Abraham and Ishmael, his son by Hagar, built the Kaaba as the house of God, the central point of pilgrimage in Mecca before the event of the Islam in the 7th century. The cube-shaped stone building has been destroyed and rebuilt several times. Okay. During pre-Islamic times, the city was ruled by a series of Yemen tribes. I've seen that before. I think I did that before. I was looking at them. The cube-shaped stone building. Under the Persian, it became a type of city-state with strong commercial links to the rest of Arab Ethiopia. So, under the Qurash, it became a type of city-state with strong commercial links. So they technologies off the charts to Arabia. My fault. Arabia, Ethiopia, and Europe. Mecca became a place for trade, for pilgrimage, and for tribal gatherings. The city's religious importance greatly increased with the birth of Muhammad. By 570, the prophet was forced to flee from Mecca in 622, but he returned 8 years later and took control of the city. He purged, did I put Muhammad down here? He purged Mecca of idols. Hmm. Purged. Hmm. The purge. Declared it a center of Muslim pilgrimage and dedicated to God. Since then, the city has remained a major religious center of Israel. As the ancient caravan route fell into decline, Mecca lost its commercial significance and has since lived mainly on the proceeds from the annual pilgrimages and the gifts of the Muslim ruler. Mecca was sacked by the Umayyad general and thereafter the city acknowledged the power of this person. Are y'all from here? A Russia? It look like a Russian name, and they look like an Arabic name. Let me see. 7. 9. Yeah, I know a little something. The power of that name I showed y'all at Damascus. I remember that. And the following eclipse of the dynasty of the uh, Baghdad. The city suffered great indignity at the hands of Hormati in 1930, when that secret's leader, Tahar Sulaiman, pillaged Mecca and carried out the Black Stone from the Kaaba, beginning in the mid-10th century. The local city rulers were chosen from the Shafars, or descendants of Muhammad, who retained a strong hold on the surrounding area while often paying homage to a stronger political entities. Mm. The ability of the Sarrafs originally moderate SHRs to adapt to the changing political and religious climate ensured their reeminence in local affairs for the next 1,000 years. In 1269, Mecca came under the control of Egyptian 1269 Mecca controlled by Egypt, Egyptian Mamluk system. In 1517, dominion of the Holy City passed to the Armenian. Yeah, I remember reading all this empire, with its capital in Constantinople, now Istanbul. With the Armenian collapse after World War II, all this fighting and you know what I'm saying, and just trying to take control of everything. It's just, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. Control of Mecca was contested between the sheriffs and the Allah Sadar, the Sadar family, a Central Arab, adherents to an austere puritanical form of Islam known as Wahhabism. I don't know. Really wrong. King Abdullah entered the city in 1925, and it later became part of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I'm sorry, Saudi Arabia, and the capital of Mecca. So that's what we dealing with now under Saudi Arabia, taken from Muhammad. So they changed the whole order. Under Saudi rule, that word W was forced as the state credo, and factories of pilgrims were improved. Mecca underwent extensive economic development as Saudi Arabia's petroleum resources were exploited after World War II, and a number of yearly pilgrims exploded. Despite lavish expenditures by the Saudi government to renovate the city and Moscow Mystique area in terms of both beauty and safety, the overwhelming crash of pilgrims each year has led to tragedy on several occasions, as in 1990, when nearly 150,000 pilgrims were trampled in a pedestrian tunnel; in 1997, when several hundred more died in a tent city fire and its ensuing panic. Whoo, yeah, will y'all ever learn? All this control and power is getting on my last nerve. For real, for real. Like little bitty boys who didn't grow up. Still playing with your G.I. Joe, your little toys, your little war toys. Political turmoil and violence have also often plagued the city. In 1979, a group of immigrants, mostly Saudi, but including many other Islamic countries, seized the Great Mosque and were evicted only with great loss of life after assault by the Saudi National Guard. During the 1980s and 90s, Iranian pilgrims frequently engaged in political protests that led to clashes with Saudi police and many deaths and injuries ensued. Blackstone of Mecca. Muslim object of veneration built into the eastern wall of Kaaba, small shrine within the great mosque of Makkah, and probably dating from the pre-Islamic religion of the Arabs. It now consists of three large pieces and some fragments, surrounded by a stone ring and held together with a silver band. According to popular Islamic legend, the stone was given to Adam on his fall from the paradise and was originally white, but has become black by absorbing the sins of a thousand pilgrims. There y'all go making up some shit. So it was given to Adam, which Adam? On his fall from paradise. Okay, for those who just joining me, let me show y'all what I'm talking about. So that was given to Adam after his fall from paradise. I guess the living, they convinced us he lived in huts. Okay, let's go. And was originally white, but has become black because of absorbing sins of thousands of pilgrims who have kissed and touched it. In 930, it was carried away by the fanatics of the 930, carried away by Qarmatian sect and held for ransom. for about 20 years. Sir Richard Burton and full Sir Richard Francis Burton Oh, Richard Burton, okay. Sir Richard Burton and for Sir Burton Francis, born and died October 20, 18. English scholar, explorer, Orientalist, who was the first European to discover Lake Tanganyika to penetrate hitherto forbidden Muslim cities. Hitherto forbidden Muslim cities. He published 43 volumes on his exploration and almost 30 volumes of translation, including an unexpurgated translation of the Arabian Nights. Early life and career. Burton was of mixed English, Irish, and possibly French ancestry. His father retired early from an successful army career, chose to raise his two sons and daughter in France and Italy, where young Richard developed his astonishing talent for languages to such an extent that before matriculating at Trinity College, Oxford in 1840, he had become fluent in French, Italian, and the Vernoise and Napoleon dialects, as well as Greek and Latin, but his continual upbringing left him ambivalent about his national identity. He called himself a waft astray, a blaze of light without a focus, and complained that England is the only country where I never feel at home. Expelled from Oxford in 1842 because of minor breach of discipline, he went to India as Sabotarian officer in the 18th Regiment of Bombay Native Infirmary during England's war with the Sardar, now in province of Pakistan. He mastered Arabic and Hindu, and during his 8-year stay became proficient also in Marathi, Marathhi, Punjabi, Pashto, and Multain. Eventually, in his travels over the world, he led 25 languages and dialects that brought the number of 40. As favorite intelligence officer of Sir Charles James Napier, commander of the English forces in the Sahara, Sindh, Captain Burton went in disguise as Muslim merchant in the bazaars, bringing back detailed reports. Napier in 1845 asked him to investigate the homosexuality brought in Krachi. Exploit study resulted in their destruction. It also resulted after Napier's departed in the destruction of Burton's promising career. when the report was forwarded to Bombay by an unfriendly officer who hoped to see Burton's dismissed in disgrace. Though the effort failed, Burton realized his reputation was irreparably clouded and returned, ill and disconsolidated, to England. From his 29th to 32nd year, he lived with his mother's sister in Boulogne, France, where he wrote 4 books in India, including Sindh and the races that inhabited the valley of Indus, 1851, a brilliant ethological study published before the new science of ethological had proper tradition against which its merits could be elevated. Meanwhile, he preferred his long cherished plans for going to Mecca, exploration in Arabia, discussing him as Pathan, I know this word, Afghanistan Muslim. In 1853, he went to Syria, Suez, Suez, and Medina, then traveled the bandit rodent route to scarce city of Mecca, where at great risk he measured and sketched the mystique and holy Muslim shrine. Okay, okay, that's enough for him. So we know that it got to do with Muhammad, Abraham. Let's see. Okay, Aliyah has to do with Ethiopia, Africa, the Jews, the Arabs, Moses, the return of the Israelites. Let's see, go in order. Um, Asia, Egypt, Cush, Petros, Elam, Samaria, Hatmat, Solomon's Island, Judea, Book of Jeremiah, Hebrew, independent nation. So do they want them to be free again or they do not? They want to keep it the way it is with the Zionists taking over, laws of the king, the Torah. What is Zion? What is Zion? Let's see what Zion. Who are the Zionists? Is an ideology and nationality movement that exploits the establishment of and support for the homeland of Jewish people centered in the area roughly corresponding to Canaan and Holy Land. Excuse me, yeah. A region of Palestine and Iraq, Israel, on the basis of long Jewish connection and attachment to the land. Hmm. Did you?
Huh?
I said, did you walk around? Non-Jewish connection, and attachment to the lands. This was happening today. I was like, now what's going on? Look, before you sit down. I'm like, why are they going around that black cube? What are they doing? Some stuff that we don't know. It's got to do with Abraham, got to do way back in the day, the promise. This supposed to be what Adam, when Adam fell, they gave him this, I guess, to live in. It was white. They said it's black now because of people kissing and touching it, turned black. But it's got to do with the us that's scattered, that were true Israelites, supposed to go back to the land and live. But the Zionists are there, and that's whole different story because they don't want us. You know, that's the Rockefellers and the Rockefellers, Zionists, not Rockefellers. I meant to say what's the other name? Um, the other one's name. Not them. That's something I made, girl. That's all kind of herbs. The Rothschilds. Are the Rothschild Zionists?
I mean, it wasn't nasty. I jumped out a little bit,
Yeah.
but it just tastes like,
Nothing.
yeah.
Okay.
Um, trying to get somebody to send my schedule. Nobody answering. Nobody got it.
Oh, for tomorrow.
They say the schedule I got say I'm off Wednesday, Thursday, but I want to make sure they can change the time.
Ooh, your check gonna look like zero next week.
Yeah, I work for
Time
2 a.m.
going in was Sunday.
I guess. I asked people, everybody was doing
You gotta ask the main people. Edmund D. Rothschild, as father of. Okay, let's see. Edmund
hopefully I still don't know.
D. Rothschild. Yeah, you ain't gonna know what
Yeah.
you ain't gonna know. Man, we appreciate you saying what you said. Now, when you go back, just make sure you like. My auntie came. That's a nurse, and she helped me and my mama. They just doctored on me on my foot. I didn't even have to go to the doctor.
That's it,
If they ask, because they might say you got. She just say my auntie came. That's a nurse, and she fixed me up. That's all. Edmund D. Rothschild and the Zionism. Zionism historical graph refers in a complementary way to Baron Edmund D. Rothschild as father of the Yishuvi, whatever that is,
it's hot on my
Jewish
feet.
community in Palestine. The well-known benefactor blandishments he acquired as a result of his massive support for modern Jewish settlements in the Palestine from 1882 onward. However, the same historiograph is critical of his administration of the agricultural colony. Under his patronage, his representatives reduced them to stagnation and partisanship. Either its armed baron was a common sentiment. sentiment. Rothschild offered assistance to the first Moshavot during their early weeks and months when they were on the verge of failure. Whatever the merits or failures of the barons, they put that here, Puritanistic approach, there can be little doubt that he made a major contribution to the success of the early civilization efforts. As Barry Burrell Katznelson subsequently observed, he came when everything was about to be lost, and the delivered excuse me, salvation when it was essential. Assessments of the Baron's endeavors in and on behalf of Jewish Palestinians generally focus on agricultural settlement. The purpose of this article is to consider a very different spirit of the Baron's activities, politics, and diplomacy. As part of his efforts in his dominion, Rothschild made peace with the organized Zionist movement, of which he had been a fierce rival for many years. But almost all Zionist sources, however mindful of Rothschild's over contributions to the Yes view, have ignored his role in his fields. Tel Aviv, 1948. Tel Aviv. Shane Lissamine is his autobiography, Trial and Error, London, devotes several passages to Rothschild in an extremely warm vein, but provides little detail of his contribution to avoiding the cause of political Zionists during World War II. Still don't ask me who were the Zionists. In a foreword to Witzman's letter dealing with this period, Leonard's staff has also ignored Rothschild's political contributions, although Wisemer's correspondence, the Baron's role in its expensively discussed, although he worked closely with Baron. Young Turks, Freemasons, Jews, and questions of Zionism and Ottoman spirit. So Young Turks, Freemasons, Jews, and Christian Zionism in the Ottoman Empire, 1908 to 1913. On May 29, 1910, a British ambassador in Turkey, Sir Gerald Lothar, claimed in a long and detailed letter to Sir Charles Hangham, the permanent Under-Secretary of the Foreign Office in London, to have uncovered the connection between the new rulers of Turkey, who came to power after the 1908 revolution, and the seduced Masonic Zionism. There it is. Conspiracy. His name is Sir Gerald. According to the ambassador account, too colorful and complex story to be discussed out of hand. Continental Freemasons running through the Young Turk movement, Nathan, the Jewish Lord Mayor of Rome, and other Jewish senators and deputies are also in appears Masons. The Italian government appointed a new and Mason called Primo Levi, so the Levi, who was not in the consul career as consul general at Simonik, and Oscar Strauss, who together with Jacob Sheff had influenced the American Jews in favor of Jewish immigration into Mesopotamia as opposed to other territorialist plans and as an extended form of Zionism was appointed American ambassador here. All the conspiracies seem to have chosen Salonika for their theater of operations, a town with a population of about 140,000, of whom 80,000 are Spanish Jews, and 20,000 of secret of Sabbat Levi, or crypto Jews. Jabotini and Jewish autonomy in the diaspora. Joseph Goldstein, ZeBoTinskys, Zionist, credo has generally been interpreted in Zionist historiography on the basis of the articles he wrote and the speeches he delivered when he was in his 30s and 40s. The credo has been identified in general with the revolutionist principles formulated at the Three World Congress of the Union of Zionist Revision, which were collected and published in the Central Bureau of Union in 1929. However, an analyst of nature of Juba, whatever that is, a dialogue during the early period of the public activity within the Russian Zionists. Okay, we got a Russian movement in 1902 to 1907 facultates a fuller understanding of his later beliefs and activities. In 1898, when he published at the age of 17 his poem Our Salam, City of Peace, until the death of Herzog in 1904, Jepler, name I showed y'all, J, shared the ideologue of the heads of Russia's Zionist movement, figures such as J. Kopji, lot of names, who were among the most important leaders of the movement and adopting an ideologue that was an amalgam of the practical Zionists of Habib Zion, love of Zion, formulated in the 1880s. by Moses, theories from the teachings of Ahad Mahat, political approach called from the writings of Leon during the Uganda crisis, which erupted at the Sixth Zionist Congress, 1903. That name of J naturally took the side of T and his supports. He regarded the British proposals as ploy, which could not be trusted. He took a moderate position in the controversy that followed the Congress and came out strongly against the East African plan. Y'all ain't tired, going back and forth and back. Mandatory land policy, Tennessee and Waldy. My thing is, how we gonna fix this? I don't know. Yeah, seems like a bunch of mess to me. American Jews Committee, American Statehood, Jewish state. Oh, history of the Zionists, biblical contents material on the following subjects: Zionist ideology, the Zionist movement, its organizations, parties, and policies, responses to Zionism, the history of Jewish settlement in Palestine, the Yashiv, its political institution and parties, the socioeconomic cultural development of the Yashiv, and the domestic and foreign policies and struggles of the State of Israel during its early years. Chronologically, the biology covers material dealing with the years 1882 to 1967, that is, from the period of the first Aliyah to the Six Day War. It includes, however, work on earlier pre-Zionist or proto-Zionist thinkers in the 70s and 80s and in the 19th century. The biograph includes books and articles published in Israel and abroad during 1985 in Hebrew and other languages. It comprises studies, researches, and primary sources such as memorandums, diaries, and correspondence, as well as reference books, among them biographies and chronologies, whatever. Biograph is selected and does not claim to be all inclusive. Books and articles are included according to blah 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 blah. Okay, let's see. I want to do that good. One more and I'm gonna let y'all go. Duck, go. I put what importance is Aliyah in Israel? Aliyah is an important Jewish cultural concept and a fundamental component of Zionism. It is enshrined in Israel's law of return, which accords and Jewish deems as such by Halakha and an Israel realized scholar law. An eligible non-Jewish, a child and a grandchild of a Jew, the spouse of a Jew, the spouse of a child of a Jew, and the spouse of a grandchild of a Jew, the legal right to assist. I stopped there. I don't know where I stopped there. From the district Torah in the land of Israel historically, which today includes the modern state of Israel, also defined the act of going up, that is, towards Israel, Jerusalem. Making a live by moving to the land of Israel is one of the most basic tenets of Zionism. The opposite action, immigration from the land of Israel, is referred to as Hebrew. I think we read that already. The state of Israel law of return. So Aliyah means law of return. Okay. Your Aliyah, it's your move. Move to Israel with guidance to every aspect of your Aliyah, offering streamlined Aliyah processing and a comprehensive basket of services. It is one of the most basic tenets of its Zionist return of the Holy Land has been a Jewish aspiration since the Babylonian exile. Large-scale immigration to Eretz Israel and later Israel began in 1882. Aliyah is a Hebrew word that means ascend or going up. Hmm. It's your move to Israel. Hmm. Interesting. Well, y'all, so I bored y'all enough. All right, y'all. I just wanted to know what they talking about. There was, don't nothing happen for a reason. I don't know if this means they trying to stop us from going what's going on, or they trying to help. If they trying to help, I support y'all wholeheartedly. Okay, and rebuke if you're not. I wholeheartedly agree with y'all. We should be moving up. Time to go up. It's time for all this stuff to be banished, and it's time for us to know who we are, be who we are, and succeed and love and care for each other. Time for a change. Aaliyah, going up. It's your move. Okay. It's our move. All right, love y'all. Scare Roof signing off. Like, subscribe, share, and comment. Bye bye.